Gracias, Candid. Pues ahora sí que sí, nos vamos hasta Canadá. Hemos recuperado la conexión con Karen Bozynski, Canadian Semiconductor Council Talent Report 2025 will reveal the keys of Canada's experience in addressing the needs of the sector. She will join us via video call. Ya la tenemos preparada. Good afternoon from Spain. Karen?
Good afternoon. Good morning from Canada.
Okay, good morning from Canada. Thank you very much. Let's go.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. And thank you so much for allowing me to hear some of the previous speakers. The content of your conference has been excellent, and I wish I could be there in person with you. And in fact, I'm only able to see my screen. I can't see the audience. So hopefully someone will be taking photos and posting on LinkedIn. I'd love to see what the environment looks like, and wish I were there with you. And thank you for this opportunity to present our work and findings. And I think there's some common themes, as my previous colleague from Semi had commented. There's many common themes, I think, throughout our presentations, and delighted to hear that the colleague from Semi had actually spent time here in Canada with in Ottawa, which is one of our major hubs. So delighted that we have some continuity here. I'll go through today our Scaling Talent, Scaling Growth, our talent report that Canada Semiconductor Council had undertaken, and just with a sample of our semiconductor industry, have some very interesting findings and recommendations. And again, I think they line up well with some opportunities together. I'll go through an overview of our semiconductor ecosystem, talk about some of the growth expected, some of those challenges, and how we are looking and recommending to go, but also some initiatives we have underway for sharing. So Canada Semiconductor Council is a national semiconductor industry association. We represent the full spectrum of Canada's semiconductor ecosystem, from multinational leaders to SMEs, small, medium enterprises, startups, and research organizations in design, development, and manufacturing of our semiconductor technologies. We bring this community together to seize these opportunities for growth and drive the strategic growth throughout the sector. And through this industry collaboration, we're well positioned and engaged with international representatives as well for really being a global hub for semiconductor innovation, manufacturing, and talent development. We have the Canada Semiconductor Council membership is a healthy representation of the ecosystem of both homegrown and global players. In Canada, we have a vast network that include the Canadian offices of many global multinationals, AMD, who had acquired ATI, which is a significant player, Synopsys, my colleague earlier, we have a common thread there, and many of, in fact, all the major EDA companies are members of Canada Semiconductor Council, and so we're delighted to have that type of engagement. And you can see the range of global multinationals, specialized manufacturing from photonics and various innovative new materials and process techniques and labs that are being developed. We have a very strong range of specialized manufacturing, and many Canadian innovations started here in Canada and grown that are now multinationals that include many of the companies here. And I hope you have an opportunity to meet many of these companies at various trade shows and trade missions that we'll be embarking on. In fact, Canada Semiconductor Council will be in Germany at the Embedded World Conference in March. And if anyone is attending, some of these companies will be with us. And I would very much welcome the opportunity to stay in touch and meet in person. And institutional support and collaboration, of course, bringing a network together. These industry networks, training networks, and connectivity is essential. And again, through the conference today, it reinforces how important this is, not just within a country, but also internationally across the industry of collaboration opportunities. With the broad sector coverage here of Canada, we have some major hubs that I've pointed out, and this is key of our talent development as well. In Ontario, our major hubs truly are the legacy and vibrant Ottawa sector, Ottawa, Canada. Again, one of our colleagues has experience there as well, where as well as Toronto and Markham, where many global multinationals, as well as startups that have become scale-ups and multinationals themselves, spun out of University of Toronto or from the other multinationals, are resident. So in Ontario, we are very strong in the semiconductor, automotive, advanced manufacturing, and telecom. Quebec, specifically Bromont, and again, legacy IBM Bromont is actually where I had started my career 30 years ago in working with IBM Bromont, but at the IBM Toronto facility, I was the process engineer doing the quality control for semiconductor ultrasonic wire bonding of the chip directly to the circuit board. So I'm thrilled to have had 30 years of electronics manufacturing experience that really stemmed from many of the companies that are still thriving today. The Bromont Quebec ecosystem is very strong in semiconductors, photonics, MEMS, superconducting, and quantum tech. And this is very relevant in the talent development strategy to have these hubs that are self-reinforcing between the university, such as University of Sherbrooke, the industry applications, and then prototyping and process development and scaling resources such as C2MI, for example. There's also some great opportunities growing in Alberta in sensor technologies, and the Nanofabrication Center of the University of Alberta is part of our network and actively developing some growing companies. BC is developing telecom and networking technologies, and that is also vibrant and growing. And Saskatchewan is becoming Silicon Prairie, of becoming a growing EDA cluster, and very innovative programs that some of our talent report has read through and received our recommendations and are actively engaging in their academic programs to supplement their curriculum in order to create the targeted courses for the semiconductor industry that we're recommending. And then because of the opportunities to connect the semiconductors with the mining sectors for the rare earth minerals that are critical to EVs, for example, but also for other chemicals and minerals that are needed, not only for the chip, but for processing, Canada has a real strength in the natural resources that we have, both of the critical minerals, the fresh water for processing, and the clean power and energy available. We have a very high availability of skilled engineers and researchers, and we are recognized as #1 in the G7 countries for the higher education spending on R&D, which drives innovation, resulting in a lot of those great generated homegrown companies that I highlighted earlier. And we're active with free trade agreements and with the industry association, such as Canada Semiconductor Council. We are eagerly looking for opportunities to further develop trade missions, export opportunities, and partnering opportunities internationally. We have a strong relationship that we just started this year with the UK, and we're actively having conversations in Europe, and we would like to have more. So we very much welcome. My contact information will be on the last slide. Please reach out to me to follow up for how we could further build our talent pool together. As I had highlighted in my report, and it's on our website if you'd like to look into it in more detail, the interesting challenges of the surveyed companies, of the subset, both are Canada Semiconductor Council members, but also non-members as well, looking at the range and the spectrum of the industry. We found that 70% of those companies surveyed plan to at least double in Canada within the next 5 years. So about half of them were projecting modest growth, up to 30%, and about half of them were projecting significant growth. And we're really thrilled to have companies, bringing their either expansion offices to Canada or even relocating to Canada, because they hear this is where there's talent that's growing. But the talent growth can is stimulated for, as mentioned previously, there's a lot of investment in the research and innovation opportunities. And one of our recommendations is to continue that. And again, I heard the other speakers with a similar theme of the opportunities for research, for internships, the summer school, the upskilling. These are all great things that grow our talent across our entire ecosystem, across our ecosystem internationally. So what we found from the findings from our report, the discussion that we held with our industry members and industry participants in the survey, really the recommendations were in three key areas. One is to increase and have more highly qualified personnel into industry. In particular, the investments we're making in research and development is generating strong master's and PhD graduates, and so further expanding those master's PhD programs and advanced internships for applied learning of those senior graduates, the application of their learning directly into industry helps to build a pipeline of these highly qualified personnel, which are needed for some of the sensitive intellectual property, cybersecurity, as had been mentioned previously, and national security roles, where their developments in semiconductors or design, those are needed with specific security clearance at a very senior level. And so growing more of the talent that can take on some of these very sensitive projects is one of the areas that we're looking to encourage more growth. So promoting more of the master's PhD program, more internship capacity, and making it easier for industry to take on more graduates during their master's PhD directly into industry, and increasing the faculty and program capacity, again, being cyclical of helping the learning from industry come back into academia to generate high quality graduates, and fueling that cycle, again, is one of our findings and recommendations. And again, focusing on faculty with direct training in the semiconductor industry for those specific skills. The upskilling and making the potential hiring candidates hire ready through an industry certification, creating the opportunity for more talent to be ready to join our semiconductor industry. Again, I heard a lot of great references from previous speakers of the various types of industry certification programs that can upskill new grads and create early career hires with the semiconductor skills. In some cases, again, traditionally coming out of electrical engineering or ECE, typically the graduates still, once they're hired by semiconductor firms, still need in-house training. And from a talent supply standpoint, as others have pointed out, those senior roles, which are providing the mentoring and on-the-job training, those are needed for conducting the work and revenue projects, revenue generating projects. So the more that we can do with the industry certification offline to get those semiconductor skills developed before they join a firm helps to reduce the amount of time that the senior staff are taken away with the direct on-the-job mentoring, and helps to stretch, create more value out of those valuable talent. So I think it's not only adding more heads, but using the heads we have smarter. And then targeted skills development. So specifically, analog design was one of the findings of the skill that is needed and growing, particularly in the types of companies we have in Canada. systems engineering, think holistically of the interaction, and physical layout skills, which is always needed. So being able to build on these and these recommendations, again, we've already heard that a couple of the universities who've just received our report that was just published this summer very quickly internalized these findings and are really already actively looking to design and present programs in 2026 to help address some of the talent needs, the specific talent and specific skills that are needed for that talent for the semiconductor industry. I think hearing from the other speakers and some of the opportunities, there could be international partnering opportunities, not only for trade and development, and collaboration and research, but perhaps even with sharing of the types of training and education that we're looking in order to grow this talent pool that's needed in so many countries, as the speakers before me have mentioned. Perhaps this is something where we can work together and share resources to grow more quickly much of the needed workforce that is needed to be hired by our semiconductor companies in the various countries we have. So I welcome the opportunity to continue this conversation and work more closely with the opportunity with these great resources and institutions and organizations that are here today. One opportunity going forward is Canada Semiconductor Council helps to convene our executive summit that we host once a year called CHIPS North. We're planning to hold it May 5th and 6th in 2026 in Ottawa, Canada. And this brings together not only the ecosystem across Canada, but internationally, the semiconductor industry. So last year we had a 22-person delegation of semiconductor executives from the UK join us, also representatives from France, Germany, Korea, Ireland, and we'd love to build on that. And so we welcome the opportunity to come together and work together in person to explore opportunities to further develop our talent, as well as all the commercial opportunities and research opportunities that could stem from that. So thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you. As mentioned, this CanadaSemiconductorCouncil.com is our website. Just check the spelling carefully, because when you type it out, it's Canada's with an S and then semiconductor. So there's two S's back to back there. Canada's Semiconductorcouncil.com is where our reports, both from our automotive chip working group, has produced a report on some opportunities for further automotive electronics, microelectronics, that we're looking to further advance. The AI chips working group has also got a downloadable report there as well. And of course, the talent report, as I've referenced, is available for download from our website as well. And to follow up with me personally, my email is here, partnerships@CanadaSemiconductorCouncil.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, Karen Bozynski. Like I said, I'm delighted to be invited to present to you, and I very much welcome opportunities to follow up so that we can build on this together and create the growing ecosystem of talent that we need. Thank you so much.